Lanka. Sri Lanka was now facing a crisis, and its exam was cancelled because of not having the papers. So the effects of the war, as you know, how the country deals with after the war. If India if India fights a war against these two countries, then there is a very high chance.
But not the first priority is the military modernization. Modernization is also very important. But when people are educated, they trick someone or they trick the war also. But military also have been modernized because if we are
Very strong tech
I just want to add one
I would
point.
like to butt in, sir.
Yeah.
Chess number 4 earlier mentioned that our neighbors are friendly enough to not attack on us. But I would like to just mention here that our neighbors will always not be friendly. Their policies might change, our policies might change. So this friendship that we are so called, putting it as a happy ending, it might not really happen because the policies keep changing. Additionally, I would also like to highlight that how will the modernization happen if we don't have the adequate educational resources? If the education is stagnant, then how will we get modernized? Because modernization requires a certain level of brain cells, brain power, and the grey matter is really important because education and modernization will go hand in hand. You can't just say that we just modernize our education, modernize our military.
I would also like to add one more point that in today's modern world, we can't always say that we need to have muscle power. For leading a war to victory, we need to have a strategic planning which is led by the new educations, or you can say that the new education policies which the government has produced.
as chess number 3 we also know that there are no friends in geopolitics, and as he said, education and modernization, they both go hand in hand, because if the more the person is educated, the more he will be able to understand the thing, accommodated with the savvy things and the technological stuff which is important for the modernization of military.
So if you take the example of our own self, we are want to become an officer in each and every field. What is the requirement? What is the difference between an officer and the Jawans of the army, the lower non-commissioned? So the basic thing is that we get education, the 4-5 years in the NDA. We get this thing. Why we are getting these things? Why they are not getting this thing? Because we are the leaders, we want powerful, and these things have been due to the education. We want them to lead, we want them lead, so we have to be educated, and education is very important in every field. So it not only these all points, these priority 3 points, if we talk about all other basic points, whatever you want to cover, education is the foremost and the most powerful thing that a country should look after.
Okay, so I would like to add a point that Middle East countries, Middle East Asian countries, and South.
And other Middle Eastern countries very well know that their oil is going to run out by 2050 at least, and if not earlier. Second, this has led them to kind of foster foreign relationships with other countries, such as they're outsourcing their brain power into their country. That literally means that they're educationally re-engineering the whole education system of their country. What does this mean? This essentially means that they're not targeting their military, they're not targeting any other sector. They have the financial sources, that is correct. But the main and foremost focus, as many of the speakers have highlighted before me, is education and education only. Because once they know that their oil, that is the basic necessity, is going to run out, they will have nothing to back themselves upon. So they are just, their education system has changed in such a way that education has become compulsory for each and every child, and their government policies have changed to such an extent that English, mathematics, science, and other social sciences are being highlighted so that they can engineer all the other sectors that they will later back up their economy on. So I think we should take an example from Middle Eastern countries, how they are focusing on education and not military.
I agree with your points, but I want to add some more points. Education is a very basic need, because if we are educated, we build good missiles, good technology for modernizing our military. So education is a very basic thing. If we are not educated, we can't modernize our military also. We have to afford from foreign countries that I think chess number 1 would like more points.
Yeah, totally agree with that point that modernizing military is really important, and it is one of the four pillars of the country. And army is also taking initiatives like has army is taking 93 initiatives projects to progress our military, and education is also very important as
on their own points. So according to me, the eradication of poverty is very important. Eradication of poverty acts as a tree, and the modernization of military and educational re-engineering acts as the branches of that tree. Because if we eradicate or if we reduce the poverty, as we know, the 50% of the world's poor people are in India, and every 4% in India is poor, and which is leading to the bad education system, and bad education system leads to the bad modernization of military. So according to me, poverty is the main cause of everything in India.
Again, I would like to give an example of Ukraine and Russia. Both the countries are very well educated. Ukraine is highly educated. Even Indians go to Ukraine to study. But what had happened? Ukraine is losing in the war, and both countries are suffering because of this war. And the education system, the poverty, both have been affected. So
I think chess number 4 has given a very good point. I think chess number 10 would like to initiate some points.
Gentlemen, as we all know that to rise high, we should have a strong foundation. And according to me, the education builds a very strong foundation in a nation. And we all know that the youth, the future of the nation depends on the youth. And to use all the youth in the nation, we should have a proper education system, a well developed education system. As we all know that we are following the education system which were last changes in 90 something. So according to me, it is very important to bring a new education policy which is already introduced in 2019 but not fully introduced. We can take the example from the developed countries like USA. Just after independence, USA first focused on their education system. The main focus of the USA was fully educate the entire population, so they can further focus on other things. And now we can see the USA is the main world power of the
I am
world.
agree with chess
And
number 10.
I would like to add some other points like in Germany, in most of the European countries, and Australia's country, they are.
And with chess number 10, education is the pedestal thing which need in our country, because education in re-engineering is a very important point. Eradication of poverty, these all are getting more getting lower. And but what is the main thing? The main thing is basement, and which is our education. If we increase our education, the people get more literate, and they were more aware about all things. If they are aware about all things, they get good jobs, they get better employment. So how they become more.
Educational reforms are the most important thing for a country. If a person is not educated in a country, if the most of the persons are not educated in a country, the country will lack to count as a developed country in all of the world. I think chess number 3.
I think chess
I
number
think
5.
we need a multiplication, like many a times the topic of Ukraine, Sri Lanka and other countries has come up. We have to look at how, not just superficially that Russia maybe had more powers, but we have to realize where are these powers coming from. These powers are essentially coming from education. And if we take a look down memory lane, we will also see that in all the times through the ages of history, we can see that all the wars have been won because of education. The Trojan War won because of the horse, that was a educational engineering of the people there. So all these small tactics are coming because of the educational warfare. We literally have a subject called defense warfare in the world, which is taught widely and is a very popular subject. Why is it a popular subject? Because it is essentially the education that is leading to the modernization of military and subsequently eradication of poverty.
I think
he gives a very she gives a very important point that education is really a most important thing in our country, because the modernization of military, how it